Oh, duck cake.
What happened?
Nothing.
Why are you hopping?
I peed on my foot.
Y'all wanna know something shocking? Like, really shocking? I used to be a toddler once. I know, right? Isn't that so cool? And back in the day, I used to watch a lot of shows that were fit for my age range. Mainly being accustomed to Nick Jr. and later on PBS Kids. Those networks had the classics: Wow Wow Wubsy, Backyardigans, Blues Clues, Little Bill, Fresh Beat Band, Martha Speaks, Arthur, Word Girl, Wildcrats, a bunch of others we don't need to mention. Anyway, at some point I started to do this other really cool and totally rare thing. You wanna know what that is? I grew up and matured. Oh my god! I know, I am a very unique specimen. And when I was maturing, I started to grow out of these kinds of shows and move on to other shows. Which brings us to today, where I have no interest in checking out any current preschool shows, and now watch very mature, sophisticated television like Beavis and Butthead.
You know, Beavis, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Jesus Christ!
I'm not joking when I say this is what peak television looks like. However, there was this one preschool show that really caught my attention. Y'all read the title, y'all saw the thumbnail, so I'm just gonna blue-skidoo weekend right into it. Today, we're talking about Bluey, an Australian animated series that released back in 2018 and would later release on Disney Plus in early 2020, becoming extremely popular, not just with the target audience, but with adults seeming to appreciate the show too. I first started hearing good things about Bluey and even seeing a few clips back in 2021, but didn't actually watch any full episodes until it started trending on TikTok a month ago. Now that I have seen the show, do I think all the hype and praise is deserved? Well, there's only one way to find out. That one way being to watch the rest of the video if it wasn't incredibly obvious. So what's Bluey about? Well, it centers around the titular 6-year-old blue heeler dog along with their younger sister Bingo and her parents Bandit and Shelly, with them going about their day-to-day lives. That's about it. No crazy magical world, no goofy supervillains, no learning that cookies taste bad in soup with Anthony Mackie, just a somewhat realistic family going through realistic activities. And honestly, that's all the show really needs. Now, one of the things that makes fictional stories so appealing is seeing it to worlds, characters, and events that wouldn't be able to exist in real life. From superheroes, to monsters, to aliens, to magic, to other dimensions, to talking animals, to talking mutated animals, to talking mythical creatures, to talking furniture, to talking Tom. Wow, it's a lot of talking. As appealing as all that stuff is, it's also nice to view stories that are more down to earth, with the appeal there being to convey more realistic subject matter more, well, realistically. An audience is seeing themselves within the characters and or scenarios. Granted, you could still pull off relatability and realism in more fantastical stories, but without any crazy elements, they're just easier to pull off. Bluey still centers around talking anthro mutts, which obviously can't exist in real life, but this family of mutts is probably one of the most realistic families I've ever seen portrayed in a cartoon. There's the kids, Bluey and Bingo, who are definitely kid characters, alright. They're wild, they're rowdy, not to the point of being annoying, thankfully. They love to play around and use their imagination. They sometimes don't get along. Kinda like kids in real life. There's also the fact that they're voiced by real kids, which helps too. It seems like kid actors can be really hit or miss. Sometimes they'll give a good performance, other times not so much. But here, Bluey and Bingo's actors do a solid enough job. Then there's the parents who, much like with the kids, definitely feel like real parents. Bandit, the dad for example, he's the more laid back type and is always teasing the kids, and is the one getting involved in the games the most, which is something a lot of dads, and I guess family members in general, do with their kids. Shelly's the more level-headed of the two parents. I don't really have too much to say about her other than, why is her voice so attractive?
Look, kids, all I ask is that you eat some alfalfa. It'll stop you getting sick.
Okay, dude.
And stop calling me dude.
Sorry, dude.
Okay, back on topic. I also like how they aren't afraid to show how parenting can be legitimately stressful at times. Like this one episode where Bandit is waiting for some food outside of a Chinese place. Then Bluey and Bingo start messing around and like Bluey was messing around with a water faucet. And Bingo was constantly asking questions about stuff. And all Bandit's trying to do is just keep everything under control, which was much easier said than done. Or another episode, which is a personal favorite of mine, where the girls are face calling their younger cousins Muffin and Socks. And Muffin wouldn't give Socks a turn with a drawing feature, which led to her dad having to intervene, which led to Muffin running off with her dad's phone. Muffin's parents even argue in the episode from time to time on how they should handle the situation. Now, I may not be able to relate to either category per se, seeing as I'm not 6 anymore, nor am I a parent, though there are some moments I do relate.
It's taking a while.
Oh, go on, give us a double chocolate and a cup extra large.
Hooray!
I've got a problem.
But I am somewhat familiar with behavior like this. There's also the fact that I have two younger cousins who are pretty identical to Bluey and Bingo, and I often get roped into their little games like Bandit. Kids can see themselves in these characters, but adults can also see themselves in the adult characters. The accuracies also make sense seeing as the creator, Dave Brum, based most of the show around his family and his day-to-day life. Now I want to talk about the show's comedy. For a show aimed at preschoolers, you think they want to go for like super simple babyish slapstick or something. Fortunately, Bluey's humor, while not as funny as say Animaniacs, still has no right to be as witty as it is.
Muffin!
The gags aren't super over the top or in your face, they're, much like the show itself, realistic and relatable. If I were to choose the funniest episode, it'd be the one where Bingo's at the hospital for some reason, and Bluey and the rest of the family make this home video about how being sick is just a part of life. And the video is full of awkward acting and outtakes they left in, and it's just so funny. Also, there's this one gag from another episode.
Ah, swing! This is...
Unironically, the funniest gag I have ever seen in a cartoon, period. Now let's go over some of the messages and themes the show tackles. Now when it comes to lessons in preschool shows, what kind of stuff do you expect? Eat your vegetables, share your toys, winning isn't everything. Now the show still has its fair share of simpler messages like be yourself and be grateful for what you have or else someone's husband eventually gets it, which yes is an actual line from the show and I love it. And it doesn't go into anything super serious like cancer or addiction or loss, but for a show like this it goes over some pretty unexpected stuff. Like there's one character with ADHD. They don't explicitly say it, which I do appreciate, but if you're familiar with the disability, I'm sure you'll catch on. The episode's about him playing army with another kid and he learns how to pay attention better with the game. It's a really nice episode, and it shows that people can learn new things through shit they like and are familiar with. Another episode is about a kid named Mackenzie playing space with the other two kids from the ADHD episode. Mackenzie throughout the episode had this habit of leaving the game as if he was being abandoned in space. The reason being his fear of his own mom abandoning him. I'm not sure if this really counts as a theme or moral, but I'll bring it in anyway. The episode is about Bandit playing around with this puppet named Unicorse, then at some point Unicorse finds out he's a puppet and briefly has his existential crisis. Last example I want to bring up is a more popular one, where Chili's sister comes over. And she hasn't visited in years because of her inability to have kids of her own. Not a bad episode per se, but I kinda wish we got a reason to why she's not able to have kids so I can actually care about her situation more. Like, did she get an abortion? Does she have a disease? Can she not find a good husband? I understand it's a kid show and they can't really bring up anything too extreme, but still. Again, not the deepest themes ever, especially compared to other kid shows. But the themes I did mention are still welcome for a show like this. You know, for a show meant to keep your toddlers quiet on their chunky, greasy iPads, Bluey has no right to be this relatable. No right to be this funny. No right to tackle heavier subjects from time to time. Just no right to be as good as it is. I'm glad kids get to grow up on a show like this because it's easy for them to get attached to while not dumbing things down or making everything so squeaky clean. It shows that preschool content can be so much more than what's led to believe, and they can be much more entertaining or much more willing to tackle more serious shit. Bluey may not be my favorite cartoon at the moment, but I still recommend it. Speaking of cartoons that were originally meant for preschoolers but unexpectedly grew a large fan base of adults, next time everyone. Next time. Okay, bye.